What's up guys, welcome to the video. Today we're going to do this a little bit differently than usual. I just didn't feel like filming in the house or in my bedroom or anything like that. So I wanted to mix it up and come outside. And so here we are in a beautiful park near my house, probably about 15 minutes away. And the topic of today's video is going to be the age-old question of, does money buy happiness? And I'm going to share with you my thoughts on that in just a moment. So stay tuned. Welcome to the video, and if you're new to the channel, my name is Michael Dennis and I make videos about confidence, productivity, and happiness so that you can get shit done and love every step of the way. So, today's video, wait, that's not where I wanted to sit, hold on, right here. Alright, so, today's video, as I said, is all about, can money buy happiness? So what are my thoughts on that? Okay. So my short answer is yes, money can buy happiness. But does money buy happiness? It depends. So it's a much more complicated answer than just yes or no. So there are a bunch of different studies that have been done on this topic that are kind of, just like with all fields and all studies, there is a lot of conflicting information and a lot of misinterpreted information, so it can be really hard to sift through and really find a true answer. And of course that also means that maybe I myself will misinterpret these studies and it might not be exactly true. But the thing with social sciences and all these studies about human behavior and all that is that no matter how well you design it, it's very, very hard to come to concrete, true answers. So don't take the information that I give you right now as fact, because it's not necessarily a fact. It's just what I've seen from some studies and from my own experience and just what I think about it. And I think that it's a topic worth talking about, and it's something that can be discussed and disagreed about, and it doesn't necessarily have to be right or wrong, black or right or white. So whether money can buy you happiness or not depends on a lot of factors. And the first one that I think is very important to talk about is how much money you already have and how much money you need to survive wherever you live, like basically the cost of living. So the way I see it, it's if you have at least enough money to live comfortably, to eat healthy foods, go to the gym, go to the doctor if you get sick, all these basic needs, if you can have at least that and maybe a little bit more, I think that's the point at which during that part of the graph, if you think of it like a graph, I see that's where money does in fact buy you happiness, because it's buying you safety, it's buying you peace of mind, it's buying you freedom, it's buying you things that are very closely tied to happiness, at least in my opinion. However, once you pass a certain point, like one study actually estimated roughly like $75,000 a year, but again, that's somewhat arbitrary, it depends on a lot of factors. But I see it as once you get past a certain income or a certain amount of money, it no longer buys you nearly as much happiness, because at that point you have all your needs met, you have the safety, the freedom, the peace of mind, all those good things, and what you're buying now are just more either things or experiences, and those are great and they can give you a lot of pleasure, short-term happiness, but in terms of long-term happiness with a big H, it's hard to say. And the next factor that's really important about whether money can buy you happiness or not is, where did the money come from? Did you inherit that money? Did you win the lottery? Did the money just fall off of a tree into your hands? Or did you actually earn it yourself? Did you do some sort of, did you create a business from the ground up and just build your own empire, and that's how you made a ton of money? There's a very important distinction to be made, and one study actually found a difference in that, a significant difference between the happiness generated by money that was inherited and money that was earned. And of course, people who earned that money felt happier about it. And I believe that that's of course because of the sense of achievement and pride that comes with that, with you either building a business or coming from the streets to get a good job or whatever the case may be. There's a sense of pride attached with that progress. It's not so much the money, in my opinion. I believe it's more the idea that you were able to start with pretty much nothing or not very much and then build something. This is one big topic that Gary Vaynerchuk, or Gary V, is always talking about these days. He's saying if you're in your 20s and you want to be happy, stand on your own feet and don't live off your parents' money anymore. And honestly, I think he's onto something. I think if there's one thing I'm missing in my life right now, it's a feeling of standing on my own feet, because I wouldn't consider myself rich or anything from inheritance, but I definitely have enough to survive and be able to do what I'm doing now, making YouTube videos, earning $0 right now. I'm lucky enough to have that privilege, but at the same time, it doesn't generate a huge sense of pride within me. It's like, I would much rather be making YouTube videos right now, making a bunch of money from it, standing on my own 2 feet that way, and I believe that with time I can get there, but right now I'm not there, and I really do think that that causes like a little thing in my head, a little something just like doesn't feel right, because it's like, I don't know. But enough about me, let's continue this conversation. So the third factor in determining whether or not money will buy you happiness is, what do you do with that money? Because just simply having it isn't necessarily the question. Once you have it, you're going to do something with it, and what you do with it will determine whether or not that money makes you happy. So another study was done. I'm going to try to link all these studies in the description. Bear with me here though. But there was another study done that tried to find the difference between whether or not money bought happiness when comparing whether people gave that money to other people in one way or another, whether that's charity or buying their friends vacations or whatever the case may be, versus if they just spent it on material things. And not surprisingly, they found that when you give money to others in one way or another, it'll make you happier. And by the way, that kind of brings me to a little side point here, that money, some people think that money either makes you evil or money makes you a great person or money does something to you. And in my own opinion, I think that this is completely wrong. I think that money is just an amplifier. If you're a bad person and you end up making a lot of money, you might use that money to go do bad things. Or if you're already a good person, and let's say before you'd hand out a couple dollars to the homeless guy standing on the street, now if you have a ton of money, maybe you'll donate hundreds of thousands of dollars to charity. It's not like you were a good person giving money to homeless people on the streets and then all of a sudden you made money and now you just do horrible things with it. Money is just an amplifier. It will just bring out more of whether you're a good person or not. Also, the fact that I'm making an entire video on money and whether or not it buys happiness kind of makes it seem like I'm giving a lot of energy to money and a lot of importance to money, and making it seem like money is so important, because I do believe that at least to some extent it can buy happiness. But I want to warn you that I'm not saying you need money to be happy, because the biggest mistake you can make is attaching your self-worth to your net worth, or attaching how much, like basically your self-esteem to how much money you either have or you make, because money is a very temporary thing. It's something that we can have a lot of at some point and lose it all, or it's something we can not have and then suddenly have a lot of it. And so if your self-image is completely tied to how much money you have, then that's going to be very hard on your self-esteem. But anyway, to circle back to the main point that I was talking about, the different factors that influence whether or not money will buy you happiness. So here's basically the thesis. If you've been listening this whole time, then this is going to start to make a lot of sense right now. So I think it depends on cost of living wherever you're living and how much money you're making. So basically, if you can satisfy your most basic needs of having healthy foods, being able to live a healthy lifestyle, go to the doctor when you need it, having some free time, etc., not working too super hard, that's the first thing. So if you can make at least enough money to be good, and then you've also earned that money, not necessarily inherited it, you've actually worked to get it. And third, what was the third point? Yes, what you do with it. So if you give that money to other people instead of just spending it only on material things, and you spend it more on things like experiences, like going on a vacation with all your friends, that's going to make you a lot happier than if you buy just like a new couch or a new TV or something like that. So basically, if you want money to buy you happiness, you have to know that you have at least enough to survive, you made all that money on your own, and you give a little bit of it to others. At least that is what the research suggests and what I would tend to agree with when it comes to whether or not money can buy you happiness. So this has been a little bit more informal style of video, and if you kind of like that style of just more me like chatting, whatever, please let me know. And also check out this video somewhere over here. That was my last video. It was a live session, basically a Q&A session. So you basically can watch that video, go down to the description, and you see everything that was talked about exactly when, and you just click it and it goes straight to that point. So hopefully I'll see you in that video, and hopefully you like this video. and I will see you there or in the next video. Who knows? Peace.